So as a founder of who's running a multiple platform company, how do you keep your mental well-being in check?
Great question. I love it because it's always changing, but it's something that's always top of mind intentionally. I always work on myself. That is like my favorite project
Hmm.
because that makes me a better father, a better husband, a better person. And when you can be a whole person for those around you, you become a better leader, and then your team is empowered. So I do a lot of things, if I'm being honest. One thing that's worked really well for me, I call them thought walks. So my
Okay.
morning routine is to just do a very thoughtful meditation, because meditation isn't just sitting there going, hmm. Meditation comes in deep thought in many different formats. So, yes, I have a book going in my ears, but it's mostly about the thought and moving my body. And it's about the, protons or photons I can get from the sun, right? So,
Hmm.
the sunlight in the morning, fresh air, being mindful of my breath and just moving my body has just worked really well for me. And I think that's probably my main point because I do all the other things that most people should do. I've learned over my entrepreneurial career that sleep is important.
Hmm.
So you might hear it a lot. I didn't obey that when I was younger. Now my body is telling me I have to because you lose something when you don't get enough sleep.
Yep.
So I've been very good about that and also keeping boundary between work and personal lives. I have 3 kids. So,
Nice.
we've balanced the no laptop on the couch rule, no phone when you're with the kids. So all these things really end up playing a pivotal role in how I take care of myself. And I can genuinely say, I mean, it sounds sort of like, I don't know what the word would be, but like manufactured maybe, that I say I'm the happiest and most fulfilled I've ever been in my life. And maybe that's because of the work that I'm doing here with Nucleus, but I tend to believe it's because of the self awareness and the process of working on the self and constantly trying to learn and be better. Because when you have that going, everything else tends to fall in place.
No, and I want to get into that space because there's something which is linked to the previous conversation which we just had is the mental health. It's
Mm-hmm.
also the mental space. While you're running Nucleus, you are also an advisor, contributor in multiple platforms, and one of them is a
Mm.
digital coin space. So how do you
Yeah.
create mental space in multiple areas, right? You are dabbling into blockchain, you're a contributor in many different platforms in that space. So how do you create mental space for you to think, strategize, contribute, lead, drive,
Hmm.
all of that?
I think it's all the same. So what I'd want to make sure is true for those looking from the outside in is that if your intentions are pure and you have the desire to help people, you're going to do that through the resources that you're provided. It just so happens that I've been a contributor to a blockchain project for a while now
Mm-hmm.
that has taken on a life of its own. So it's almost this like magic outlet for me, or
Mm-hmm.
whether that's at the end of the day, like at night when I'm not supposed to be on my phone, for example, before bed, I get to check in and like empower a developer to build something on the protocol, and it's giving me energy back because I'm helping people. And I
Mm-hmm.
know in the same way that I feel psychedelics is going to change the world, I know that what we're doing is going to change the world. Maybe it's too early, sure, that's a different conversation, but it's just about energy in and energy out, and it's all the same. Psychedelics will help people. Blockchain protocols will help people. It'll change the world. And I don't say that to be fantastical. I mean that genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Decentralization and
Is the future.
psychedelics, well, they're also overlapped, and they're the same thing. We're just talking about different means to make life better.
Yep.
And therefore, I mean, we've even right now, this isn't a secret, have protocols on the shelf through Nucleus because we think the future is a more efficient healthcare system, more efficient ways to store data. We
Mm-hmm.
even initially had the vision to have a on-chain mental health record. We still have projects that work on that. But talk about too early. When you mash 2 industries that are too early together, it just doesn't make sense to people. Like, why are
Yep.
you even doing this? So they're all related, and I get energy from it because it's important, if that
And
makes sense.
especially in the psychedelic space, combining it with the blockchain principles and blockchain technology is because you want to build that system of truth and not rely on
Yes,
one
exactly.
chain. Because like we were discussing earlier, there's so much of fake or mislabeled products or synthetics coming out which may look like the original, but they are not. They're actually synthesized, right? You need blockchain to really confirm the authenticity and the origin of that particular product or the compound, so that it helps the user have confidence in it, right? Like you spoke, there have been so many deaths of overdose or not proper dose. It's not overdose, but not a proper dose, I would call it, right? So how do you ensure that authenticity and giving confidence that what I'm consuming is right and it's come from the respectable source and right source? You would need blockchain in that, and definitely those are the two right emergence or convergence of the two industries coming together.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of overlap in the excitement of these industries, in that people have come up with NFT collections to benefit people getting treatment through psychedelic medicines. I think fundraising is an interesting opportunity when you look at ways that you can issue NFTs and build community. I mean, obviously I'm biased on this too, but as you said, decentralization is the future, and a decentralized world that allows people to get the mental health treatments they need on their terms and they own their data, that's part of our vision.
I hope you enjoyed this clip from my podcast series called Masters Decoded. The intention of bringing these clips to you is to allow you to understand some key moments of the conversations I've had with my guest. I would recommend and highly encourage you to listen to the entire podcast, which you can find the link to the podcast in the description below. I look forward to you subscribing to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of all the future clips which we keep releasing every week on this channel.